My name is Kim, and I'm going to go through a step-by-step of how to obtain a permanent protection visa subclass 866. A protection visa allows a person who is at risk of significant harm or persecution in their home country to live in Australia. This allows you to live, work, and study in Australia and gives you access to Medicare and Centrelink services and allows you to become an Australian citizen after 4 years. Before you apply, there are some threshold issues. You must currently be in Australia, so you cannot apply from overseas. You have to currently be holding a valid visa, such as a student or tourist visa, which means that if you arrived by boat undocumented, you cannot apply for this, and you also cannot have previously held one of the following visas shown on the screen. If you meet this, then you may be eligible to have the protection visa. The next step is to gather the documents. So you'll need to gather your proof of identity. You'll need to fill out a Form 866C application for a protection visa, which is shown on the slide there. You'll also need to write a statement of claims and gather any documents that substantiates your claims. So how you would go about writing your statement of claims is to first establish a well-founded fear of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group, or political opinion as per the Migration Act Section 5J. You'll also need to show that there's a real chance that if you return to the country that you will be persecuted for the reasons mentioned in subparagraph A, and you'll also need to demonstrate that there's a real chance of persecution that relates to all areas of the country. It is not uncommon for the minister's delegate to question why an applicant can't simply move to another part of the country. You have to show that your fear of persecution is no matter where you are in that country. Persecution can include a threat to a person's life, significant physical harm, significant ill treatment, significant economic hardship, denial to access basic service, a denial of capacity to earn a livelihood. It is important to note that the harm needs to be significant because low-level harassment will not meet the threshold. So once you've established all these elements, you can put it in your statement of declaration. This is your opportunity to tell your story and make a case for yourself of why you should be granted asylum. Some things to include are how you identify, your gender, socio-political, economic group, religion, race. You can also include information about the country, such as the laws and the norms and why you're scared to return. You can include things like whether or not the country was able to provide you effective protection. Did they take your claims of harm seriously? You can also talk about your history with the community, what it was like growing up, were you ostracized or stigmatized, and just some basic things like why you're seeking asylum and your decision to leave and your fear of returning. The statement of claims needs to be written chronologically with no inconsistencies, and so this can be quite difficult, particularly for non-English speakers. So it's recommended that you seek out the assistance of a lawyer, either privately or through a community legal centre. Once you have all your documents, you can lodge it on the Department of Home Affairs website as shown on the screen there. That's the link. And what's next is within 1 to 2 weeks, you'll get an acknowledgement email from the department. They will then either ask for further information or ask for you to come and do an interview where they discuss your statement of claims. Whilst you're waiting for the outcome, the department will give you a bridging visa. So the outcome, if your visa is granted, then you get all the rights that I spoke about earlier. It's important to note that you must not travel to the country you sought protection from, otherwise this will trigger a cancellation, and you also cannot travel to any other countries unless you have approval from the department. If your visa is denied, you can apply to the AAT to have a merits review within 14 days, or in some cases, a ministerial intervention. One of the significant issues with this system is the lack of access to justice for those who need it the most. Firstly, the process excludes people who arrive by boat, often the most vulnerable and traumatized individuals fleeing persecutions, and despite their desperate need for protection, they are denied. Secondly, the threshold for eligibility is quite high. A person must be in Australia on a valid visa, which assumes a level of knowledge, financial capacity that most people fleeing persecution simply do not have. Finally, there's an unrealistic expectation that applicants must provide evidence of their fear of persecution, And as we know, medical services or authorities in their home country may not take claims of harm seriously, or they may have been complicit in abuse. Thank you for your time. I hope this helped.